Hey everybody, we're going to read in just a moment from Genesis chapter 24. I need your Bible open there as this evening we look together at 4 chapters, Genesis 24 through 27. In our video, I'm just going to give you a brief overview and hopefully set you up for good class discussion. In Genesis chapter 24, Abraham, that we've been walking with for a while now, he is old, advanced in years, and he's got something very serious on his mind. He makes his oldest servant swear that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but will go to my country and to my kindred and take a wife for my son Isaac. Remember, when we were first introduced to Abraham, it was way up here in the north in Haran, and he had traveled far to the south into the land of Canaan. He has lived among these Canaanites now for many decades, and he is sending his oldest servant back up there toward Haran to find a wife for Isaac from among his own people. Genesis chapter 24, the rest of the chapter documents that servant really leaning on the Lord. He eventually finds a beautiful woman named Rebekah, who agrees to go back down with Abraham's servant to the land of Canaan. And at the end of Genesis 24, Isaac, the son of Abraham, and Rebekah are married. In Genesis 25, we've got a beginning of that chapter by tracing the various branches of Abraham's family tree. And that chapter, Genesis 25, specifically emphasizes Ishmael, his firstborn son, and especially Isaac. In fact, if you look at Genesis 25, verse 7, we have the beginning of this summary statement. These are the days of the years of Abraham's life, 175 years. Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. This is the end of a significant life in Bible history. Isaac and Ishmael, his sons, buried him in the cave of Machpelah down here outside of Hebron. Who else had been buried there? Well, we learned recently Abraham's wife, Sarah. Remember, this is the only land that belonged to Abraham, where he had buried his wife Sarah. Now he also is buried there. And in verse 11 of Genesis 25, after the death of Abraham, God blessed Isaac, his son. And it is this branch of the family line that the Bible is really going to start following. Isaac, we are told, settles way down here to the south. Genesis 25 also gives us details about twin boys that Isaac and his wife Rebekah, in fact, I'm going to move Ishmael off of the family tree at this point and really highlight now the line through Isaac. Eventually, Isaac and his wife Rebekah are expecting a baby. In fact, 2 babies, twin baby boys. In Genesis 25, verse 22, we're told that the children struggled together within Rebekah, and she says, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and I want you to listen carefully to what the Lord said to her. It's not just 2 babies, 2 nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. But this is not going to go the way most of us would expect. The older, the firstborn, shall serve the younger. She had two baby boys, and the firstborn, the oldest, was named Esau. The second, who actually grabbed a hold of Esau's heel during birth, was named Jacob. And I want you to remember what Jacob's name means. Jacob literally means he takes by the heel, or he cheats. That's going to come back in very important ways as we get into Jacob's life. The older Esau grew to be a skillful hunter, while the Bible tells us that Jacob was a quiet man dwelling in tents. Genesis 25 tells us that Isaac loved Esau. Rebekah loved Jacob. Does that sound like a really healthy situation to you? Probably not, and for good reason. One day in Genesis 25, right around verse 29 and following, Esau, the skillful hunter, came in from the field. He was exhausted and he was really, really hungry. And so he asked his brother Jacob, who dwelt in tents. He had been working on some stew. Esau asked Jacob for some of that stew that he had been cooking, and Jacob offers it in exchange for Esau's birthright, a special perk of being the firstborn. Under the law of Moses, the firstborn got a double portion of the family inheritance as his birthright. And here is one brother saying, I'll give you a pot of stew if you sell me your birthright. And Esau agrees. As Genesis 26 opens, it describes a great famine in this land, and the Lord appears to Isaac and tells him not to go down to Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell you. And so Isaac settles down here to the south in the land of the Philistines. And we might talk together as a class. He, like his father before him, Isaac struggles with fear. He's richly blessed by the Lord. He becomes very, very, very wealthy to the point that the Philistines drive him out of their land. And so Isaac settles here in Beersheba. And in Genesis chapter 26, the Lord appears to Isaac. I want you to listen carefully to the way he describes himself. In Genesis 26 and verse 24, I am the God of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you and will bless you and multiply your offspring for my servant Abraham's sake. We'll probably really, as a class, focus on Genesis chapter 27, where aged Isaac, son of Abraham, now son of father of these two sons, he expresses his intention to bless Esau before he dies. But mom, Rebekah, hears about it, and Jacob, with the help of Rebekah, deceives his father and receives that blessing instead. Esau is furious. He hates his brother. He plots to kill him. And so Rebekah encourages the son that she loves, Jacob to flee far to the north. You can see it on your handout, all the way up to where her brother Laban lives in Haran. But we're going to pause right there. There it is, the beginning of strife between two brothers, Esau and Jacob, that is really going to make a mess of things for a long time to come. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to kick it back over to your in-person class teacher, but I appreciate you being in class tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your class, and I'll see you real soon.